He's pretty nervous having you all on.
Oh,
especially
God.
you.
Me?
He grew up watching you on
I'm
telling you.
I think everybody
He
can.
grew up watching you on TV.
Not that exciting.
And that is perfection. You just made a rainbow on a cupcake. Yeah, but
It's a MANBOW.
it's a
It's min.
it's a storm bow.
Okay, Debbie, what is this time?
Listen, Coach Roy, I need to talk to you about my son, Clayton. Now, look. I know he's a bit of a scrawny boy.
He's the run of the litter, to put it lightly, okay?
Yes, you're not wrong there. But listen, I think maybe what the football team needs this year is a little bit more spirit. Now, we haven't been doing great, and I don't think that's a reflection of your abilities. I don't. But I think maybe Clayton could boost the morale of the
We are
team.
already 0-11 right now. I cannot take any more risks athletically with the youth here at this high school.
Listen,
I've already stepped away as head coach at Johnson County Community College just for a season so I can come look after this high school to hopefully get better prospects to Johnson County Community College next year.
I understand that. And now listen, am I asking you to push my son forward to Johnson County Community College team? No. Frankly, I think maybe he has a better chance at an academic scholarship, even though he's also not that smart. But maybe he's smarter than he is athletic. But listen, as a favor, one professional
Your
to
son
another.
is dumber than that light post over there.
My son is fine. He's a good boy. He's got a lot of spirit. And I reckon what your team, which is 0-11, needs. Listen, do I know a lot about everything? No.
No, you just said a record was 0-11. We're 0-11. Yeah, you don't know much about sports, and your kid has spirit. Yeah, it's called a cheerleader. Yeah, sign him up to be a male
My son cannot
cheerleader.
be a male cheerleader. He cannot be the laughingstock of this school.
Okay,
Listen.
let your son be a female cheerleader then. This kid is not deserved to be on the football team.
I mean, I'm frankly not sure you're deserving to coach with the record you got going. But listen, what I'm asking for is a favor.
Will you shut your mouth whenever you're bringing up my record, okay? I can talk about it disparagingly. It's a work in progress. I don't need one of the moms of some untalented hack kid to come at me right now.
He's not untalented. He's just untapped.
I've seen lightning bugs with more gumption than your son.
I think high school is about developing that gumption. I'm asking you, as a coach, to give my son the opportunity. Have you ever seen the movie Rudy? Remember Rudy? He was little. Rudy? People love Rudy. Clayton's like a Rudy. You know what this town could need? We need a Rudy. We need a hero. We need a good news story about someone overcoming something.
The whole thing with Rudy that was a beautiful story was it was Notre Dame, which is a beautiful establishment and program of a football dynasty that has happened over the years. We are 0-11. No one wants to see a sad little kid getting out on the field, living out his dreams, and everybody losing and getting creamed right away. That's not Rudy at all.
What if he is really good? I'm asking for the opportunity to give him an opportunity. Have you ever heard the story of David and Goliath? Nobody thought that David was going to take Goliath down. Maybe he's a David. Maybe he's what the football team needs. Maybe we need a scrappy little scrawny guy to run through the legs of those big fat defensemen, run it down the line. And is he fast? No.
Okay, just to be clear, how tiny is your son? Because you said run through the legs of football players. Is this kid 2.5 feet tall? What's happening? What is his actual height? What's his actual weight? I'm considering he could be an asset or he could be a giant liability.
He could be a star. Look, all we need is put him in one of them little letter jackets y'all wear. That's clout. How do I get him into a letter jacket? That is immediate acceptance among your peers.
It's called a letter man jacket, and frankly, he doesn't qualify to be a man to have the letter. You can't just have a letter and a jacket and call it a letter jacket, okay?
Okay, I need you to help me figure out how I can get him into one of them little Leatherman jackets.
It's Leatherman is something different. That's like a BDSM kind of thing. It's an adult costume. That is not what we provide here at the school.
What's BDSM?
I don't know the exact acronyms for BDSM. Something, body, probably disaster, probably sexual maturity. It's like one of those ratings, on like the PG-13 parental guidance. 13.
Sounds to me like you're a pervert. I would hate for the school district to find out you're going out watching body disaster sex movies.
I just brought it up as a term. It's not something that I'm into. It's not a kink of mine or anything like that.
I think that maybe the county...
You're not going to accuse me on my field. You're coming out here.
This is not a field. This is a teacher break room.
This is my field. Life is a playing field, okay? I don't care if we're in the PTA office or wherever the hell we are, the break room getting water, you getting your Starbucks.
Just so you know, I am in the PTA office regularly. I have a lot of influence in this school. And there are people lining up trying to be PE teachers here. Okay? I'm going to play my card straight with you. I'm going to show it on the table. I have a lot of influence.
You think you can do what I do?
No, but I think I can get someone else to do what you do. Do you get what I'm saying?
Good luck with that.
I would not blow your whistle at me like that if I was you. I would not. Now
what are you going to do? I thought your name was Debbie, not Karen.
Oh, good one. Ha ha ha, another Karen joke at Debbie. We're sick of it. We're all sick of it. I'm tired of it. Yeah. Do I have a cliche haircut? Yes. Do I have bad highlights? No. I'm sorry. Big hair, closer to Jesus. And all I'm asking for you to do is help me out to help my small son, Clayton, be a little more protected in this school. What is wrong with helping somebody?
Okay.
Isn't that your job as a coach to help the youth?
All right, sign this waiver over here. It basically says if your son gets killed out on the field, that Coach Roy Robeson is not liable. Okay, you filmed that out real quick. You don't even want to listen to what you just signed,
not
but that's
liable
fine.
For what?
His death, the school's not liable for the insurance for his grave that is for sure going to be built in a cemetery that's right down the street from Johnson County Community College.
Why is there a cemetery so close to the community college? How many of your players are dying per year?
A lot of players get concussions and stuff, and we just haul them over to the cemetery after they tap out.
Is there just like a mass grave?
There's a mass grave for ex-community college football players over there.
Oh, this is not looking good for your annual review with the PTA.
I'll take that waiver back. I just gonna.
Listen, I can see that you take a lot of pride in your football team.
Yeah, I do.
So let's compromise.
Yeah.
What about, Lord help me.
What about what, ma'am?
What about like a team manager? Someone to, organize the water bottles.
He can do the towels.
Does that...
He can do the jock straps. He can clean out the fungus of our star player Antone's toenails.
Would that get them like a personal, they would have the opportunity to personally interact? Maybe they could build a budding friendship from that.
Sure.
Does he get one of those leather daddy jackets? For the managers, do they get the leather dad jackets?
We could arrange something, yeah.
I mean, it's not quarterback, but he's part of the group.
He'll be star towel boy.
Okay, I don't think we need to call him towel boy.
He's gonna get called a lot worse on that. I'm just telling you what the titles are gonna be.
I think maybe his title should be team manager. I think that's not asking a lot.
Okay, we'll look into it.
No, I need your word that he will be called the team manager.
Wow, you are a feisty one, aren't you?
I care about my family. I care about God.
What's going on with Mr. Vincent, huh?
That's none of your goddamn business.
Oh, you take the Lord's name in vain, but your hair is trying to get closer to the Lord? Sounds a little contradictory to me.
Hey, Jesus drank wine, all right? I think we'd get along good, okay? He turned water into wine. He's a regular old human like the rest of us. But let me tell you something. what my husband is doing, which may or may not be his secretary, I'm not quite sure, is none of your business or anyone else's business, all right? Mr. Vincent works hard, pays the bills, and I am a pillar of this community. I volunteer for multiple organizations.
You are a pillar. You take a lot of pills. Everybody knows that about you. You are addicted to different drugs.
I need those pills. They are prescribed to me by a doctor. And I don't think there's anything wrong with supporting Western medicine. And frankly, I'm a big advocate of mental health. So yes, do I take 100 milligrams of Adderall every morning? I do.
If I get your son on the team, will you never talk with me again?
I can't make any promises, but I will do my best. I will leave you alone. As long as you have him on the team, he gets one of those little letter things, the letter sweaters. And you make sure none of the football players hurt him.
This is turning into a hostage situation. I've got a third period class that I've got to go teach gym to.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be patrolling the halls as a volunteer security guard. We all have problems right now. If you want to teach your class, if you want to keep teaching your class here at this high school, I need your word that my son will be included among the team.
Good God, woman, this man's going to be, yes, he's a little person who's going to be included in the team. You got what you wanted. Is there anything else before I go off?
Yes, would you like to buy tickets to the annual Pascagoula Chili Cook-Off? I'm selling tickets. Great.
Okay, dokie.
Perfect. Happy to be here. They're lovely.
I like, starting off the show with some hand sanitizer.
Yes, it's always good to stay sanitized. I love the scent.
Do you smell it after you always squirt it?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yes.
Every time.
Every time.
It's my, really a layman's way of going, yes, I still have my scent of smell, I'm fine.
Oh, yes. It's very, very easy to do at the different grocery stores now to check your scent, because they're at every wall and every dispensary that you could walk down the street that you could imagine, possibly.
Yes, there's just it's scents everywhere you go.
Yes.
It's quite lovely.
Yes. Do you remember the band Sixpence and None the Richer?
Kiss me.
Yes, exactly.
It sounded exactly like that.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Yes, I only pay for things in pence. I'm very familiar.
I'm in a cover band called 6 Cents None the Richer, where we just go around smelling things.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's funny because I'm in a band called Sixth Sense, None the Richer, and we only perform on Halloween and we see dead people.
Oh, well, I'm in a 6 Cents None the Richer cover band that we actually do Billy Joel Osmond. And we also do Sixpence None the Richer songs. It's a very convoluted band that we're trying to cover and get all the logistics figured out.
That's so interesting because I'm in a dance troupe called Sixpence None the Richard, and we all dress like Richard Simmons.
Ooh.
And we only dance to Sixpence None the Richer songs.
Oh, well, I was thinking about joining that band, but there's a competing band called Sixpence None the Richer with Richard Dreyfuss, and they only played the Jaws theme.
Good times.
The longest improv game ever.
How many knockoffs of Sixpence None the Richer?
How far can it get? Where we were starting to go into the Richard route. Yep, it could have gone for a turn.
I mean, there's so many Richards.
There's
Mini
so many
Richards. That's
Yeah. Richard Simmons was so big for a while, and I think there needs to be a new one.
There does. Do you remember that he disappeared?
Yeah, what happened for
I don't
that
know,
while?
I don't know, I
Did he
don't
go
know.
to rehab or something?
I don't know if he came back. People just stopped talking about it. We do need a new, celebrity. Because there was Jane Fonda, then there was Richard Simmons. Who was it, Jillian Michaels? I don't know. The P90X guy?
Oh, but I mean,
It's just
I
not
don't
the
think
same.
it wasn't as much of a phenomenon as the Richard Simmons
We
thing
need
was.
a personality.
Also, there hasn't been anybody like a Bob Ross.
Bob's the best.
That just painting and just do it along with me.
Yeah, have you ever tried to do those, by the way?
I think I tried to do one, and you get lost so fast.
Nobody, until you try to follow along, I did a really brief I did a 6-episode series called Slaw Bros, where I would have artistic guests on, and I was dressed as Bob Ross, and we would drink and try to do Bob Ross drunk, which that also probably didn't help. But he's speed painting. He's going so quickly.
Yeah,
and you don't realize it just watching it.
When you realize what he's doing with the trees and stuff like that, how he's forming trees in like 10 seconds, you're like, oh, you've been doing this for so many years that this is just easy to you.
Yeah, you're a professional.
Yeah.
And you're like, slow down,
It's
Bob.
like those cooking shows. They're like, okay, I have all these ingredients. They have everything prepared already. And then you're like, ah.
Yeah, your kitchen's just on fire, and you're like, I just wanted a souffle.
It's my anniversary. My husband might leave me. I don't know what's happening.
I think he's been cheating on me, and now I've burnt the brulee.
Have you cooked? Are you good at cooking?
No, I'm so
It
bad.
impresses me anytime a comic is good at cooking. Like I'm literally like flabbergasted. Like, how did you find the time?
Yeah, how do you find the time? And also, I feel like I'm like, the amount of comedians I know, I'm like, I think that part of our brain has been shut off to focus on other things.
Oh yeah.
It blows my mind when a comedian's good at cooking. My boyfriend is not a comedian. He's a musician. He got really into cooking over quarantine, and
That's a good catch.
he's so good at it. It's like a problem because he's so good that put on a couple LBs, I'm eating too much. Because he's just a big guy, and he's like making these giant
These
servings.
portions
And
that
I'm
are
like,
on.
I can eat a 12-ounce steak for breakfast.
Hey, hon, put one on for me as well.
Yeah. I'm just like, nom, 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 nom.
And he's like, another T-bone? It's 9 a.m.
Just like, why are you such a monster?
Yeah.
No, I've gone through phases of being like, I'm going to get into cooking. And recently I was like, maybe I'll start baking. I've gone through, I go through very manic, I'm going to get into things.
Do you think guys ever go through baking phases, or do you think that's primarily females?
I don't know, because I think socially guys would stay away from it because it's still considered like, oh, that's not what dudes do.
Even though, there's shows like the Great British Bake Off and all that stuff. But like, I don't think that's as much like when the quarantine was happening, like I feel like a lot of people are like, I'm getting into baking.
Oh yeah, no, it's like the manly baking was sourdough bread.
Tom Papa makes bread supposedly that's really good.
Yeah, the people are like, I'm making sourdough. And it's like, you're baking.
Yeah.
Just quit calling it making.
Quit trying to man it up.
Bread. Yeah. That's a woman's place.
Yeah.
My stepdad, extremely homophobic, which is not a thing I'm proud of, but like life is life. What can you do? Loves to bake.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, oh, you're like the cake place that's refusing gay people. Like, do you not understand that this is inherently like a feminine thing to do?
Yeah.
Which, whatever. Don't put gender on whatever. But like, it's very funny because he's a cartoonishly like just Republican. I'm a man.
Right.
And then you got a sprinkle on. He won like second place in a bake off. He's got
shimmer the sugar. Shimmer
exactly.
the sugar.
He's like, it takes a light touch. He's decorating cakes
And that is perfection. You just made a rainbow on a cupcake. Yeah, but
it's a manbow.
it's a
It's men.
it's a storm bow.
Yeah, you can't get the rainbow without a storm, and that's a very manly thing. Is lightning.
Yeah. It's one of those cumulonimbus clouds. I was studying it back in science class.
I'm a scientist, actually.
Yeah.
Baking actually is a chemistry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nobody talks about it, but I'm basically a chemist. I'm Marie Curie, but a man with a spoon.
Oh yeah, Martha Stewart. Forget that.
Yeah, that's dumb. I don't want to see it. Women, sit down. A man's place is in the kitchen.
You know what? I'm going to make my own sandwich because she ain't going to do it right.
They can't do... Honestly, everyone I know who like loves to cook is a man.
Really?
To the point that I'm like, oh, I think that was a false gender role because men had to go to work and women were like, I guess I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, I guess I'll make sure that...
I'm not allowed to get a job.
Make sure that the dinner's hot for...
So he doesn't punch me again.
Can you imagine living in that era where that's acceptable?
I would be dead. I would be dead.
You would be dead. You'd be like, yeah. just smarting off like a little bit and stuff like that. Like, what did you just say?
Wait. Whack.
Whack.
I lost another tooth to the husband again.
You're like, I've seen better punches from my friend Carol. Oh, God.
Just constantly with like a steak on my eye. And he's like, you can't even cook that steak, you fucking dumb broad. I'm like,
Hey, Jessica, is that a new eyeshadow that you have on?
Yes, it's called Husbandry
Oh.
by L'Oreal.
Oh, where do I get that?
Come over to my house and try to make a casserole.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just
Yeah, I can't. It's just so weird to think about, like, you know, when you watch some of those like time period kind of shows on Netflix or whatever, like where they like are like slapping their like wives around or stuff like that. I'm like, I literally can't imagine a society where that's like
okay.
where like guys are like, yeah, the wife was smarting off again, so I smacked her in the face.
So I had to just gave her the old Frank Sinatra. Just to the moon.
New York, New York, New York.
Like a woman being curb stomped. Just like so. Start spreading the news.
She's dead.
She's dead. The coroner arrived at 9:30
He's just parading
p.m.
over a bunch of dead women.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
leaving today. We love you, Frankie.
We gotta remake that. We gotta remake that like as a live performance, like a black and white, like
He's just knocking out women
yeah,
everywhere
just
he
like
goes.
punching everyone. Just the original music video for that.
Right? Well, and it's so funny talking about it now because in this, you know, to us that's so absurd that it's funny because it's like
Oh yeah.
so outlandish.
Oh right.
They're like, no one would do that.
Nobody.
And you're like, oh, my grandpa probably just smacked grandma around.
Well, your grandma had to be put in her place a few times.
And it's like, do I feel bad for her? Yes. But would her cookie bars have been as good?
Probably not.
No.
She strived for perfection for a reason.
Recipes were perfected out of fear.
They had to be.
Fear drives perfection.
And fear drives competition and also success.
No one is more successful than people who are terribly afraid.
And nobody's more afraid than comedians.
I mean, when I really think about like the deep, deep source of where my comedy comes from, most of the time,
Yeah.
it's like if I were to dig into it, it's like, oh, I'm so afraid.
Oh, sure.
Like I will be making jokes until the minute I die, but it'll be because I'm like, fuck, I'm about to die.
I literally like I used to have dreams where I would there were more nightmares where things did not work out at all in LA where I was
Why am I laughing? I'm
working
like,
a job back home.
so relatable.
Oh yeah, no, where I was literally working a job back home and having my friends go, yeah, it didn't work out, did it? Like I literally had like
Just
nightmares
people
about
going,
that.
didn't work out. Dude, were you having a crazy amount of stuff like that in 2020 when things were shut down? I was having crazy like
Crazy
high
dreams
school
and stuff?
dreams and like people that like had no business even being in my subconscious. And I was
Right.
like, why are you what?
I think it's because we did such a deep dive in our heads with everything that was going on.
Well,
Like,
we'd worked so hard and for a chunk of time, everything came to a screeching halt that you're like, oh, did I just put all my eggs in a basket that's been set ablaze?
well, yeah, it was like this basket all of a sudden had the bottom cut out.
Yeah, and it's like, bye eggs. Now they're frying on the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, that shit's scary.
Do you have a lot of, do you remember your dreams usually or typically?
I'm like half and half. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh my God. And then other times it's gone pretty quickly.
I guess my sister has like legit nightmares all the time. And I don't know what that stems from, but she like is like, oh yeah, I had another horrible nightmare. I was like, what?
Well, those ones I always remember.
Yeah.
But like, thankfully, I've gone through periods of time where there's like heavy bouts of bad dreams. You know what? Have you ever had sleep paralysis?
I think I have at some point.
Oh, that shit's weird. And okay, people are going to come after me in the comments and be like, you're so fucking stupid for this. Sleep paralysis has made me believe in like, there are ghosts or spirits because I've had chunks of it. Like I've gone through periods of time where I can't stop having it and it's only in specific houses.
Ooh.
Which I know I'm a very logical person, so I know what I'm saying is batshit insane. But it's like, it's this feeling of like you think you're awake, but you can't wake up and you can't like move over and you can like sense someone like standing over you.
Yeah, I've had dreams where I guess it's technically sleep paralysis because I couldn't wake up from the dream even though I know I'm dreaming.
Yeah, and you keep like waking up. Do you ever,
Yeah.
like, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm still in the dream.
Yeah.
And then you go like, I'm never going to get out. And now I'm so used to that because it's happened enough times that like.
You have tricks to kind of get yourself out of it?
Oh, I can't get out of it, but I think I will. Like, I'm like, if I just start thrashing enough, my boyfriend next to me will notice something's wrong. I'll be thrashing in real life.
Right.
And so I'll be in the dream trying to like, just laying there like, son of a bitch.
Oh, that's so scary.
It's wild.
So what was the place that you kept having this recurring?
The first time it happened was isolated, and it was in my freshman room dorm.
Okay.
But then, not because of this, but I happened to switch dorm rooms because a girl I was really good friends with, her roommate moved out. So she's like, come be my roommate. So I don't know. But then I moved into this house with a roommate my junior year of college. And I went through like a week of it kept happening to the point that like I was afraid to go to sleep. Like I was like, I'm just going to stay up.
You're doing
like crazy, like
Nightmare
a crazy
on Elm
person.
Street stuff where you're like, I can't go to sleep
Yeah,
because
it was like it feels like there's someone like either kind of in your view, like almost like a wolfy, shadowy character, or just out of you and you know they're there and you can't fucking move. Like they're possessing you.
Yeah.
It's insane.
How many times would you say that this has happened?
I mean, it probably happened about 10 times total in that house, but it was in like a chunk. And then I lived in a house in Highland Park.
Very focused.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I lived in a house in Highland Park where I went through. I was on the road a lot, but then I was home for a little while and I went through this chunk of time where it kept happening. But people say it's like just a brain disconnect where it's like your body's waking up a little before, or your brain's waking up a little before your body. Because your body goes into sort of like a REM to protect you from like thrashing
right,
around.
but like, here's what's scary about that is, I don't know, maybe they have done studies on this or whatever, but is that what people are experiencing who are in comas long term? Because if that's the case, that is the saddest, like, that's so scary. Like to be literally stuck and be like, hell, like, get me out of here.
I know. I always wonder is it just their body? Like, do you hear everything going on around you?
Because that's terrifying. If you're trying to literally escape and say something and you're literally not waking up.
I've never been in a coma, but I one time had a seizure because I fucking overheat. This is insane.
Really?
I moved to Alaska when I was in 6th grade. Within a week, we found out I have a rare but serious allergy to cold weather. I will break out into hives and like my body starts shutting down.
What temperature would you say?
I mean, it was like, I had gone from southern Mississippi where one time we had a snow day where it wasn't sticking and they closed down school. But like freezing weather, definitely like 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And below. So I had to like stay inside during recess and wear like a big Barney colored snowsuit.
Wow. Just to keep your body temp up.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
Did anybody make fun of you for
everyone?
The suit?
Oh yeah. It was, not only did I have that. Okay. The thing is like, I didn't need to have the suit. My mom could have, if we weren't poor, she could have gotten me a nice like snowboarding insulated jacket and good like snow pants, but we weren't rich. So she's like, here, I got you this full body. It's like
I
Ralphie
fashioned you
from
a yarn ball.
Christmas story, like purple suit. And she started dating my stepdad pretty quick into us moving to Alaska. And as a like, hey, I'm a cool guy gesture. Mm-hmm. Anyone with a stepdad has been through some sort of like, he gets you a gift or like some sort of, I got to get in their good graces.
Trying to get that acceptance.
So he bought us these winter hats, but they weren't just regular snow hats. There's a kiosk in our mall, the Diamond Center, Anchorage, Alaska, where you could get custom these like 5-foot long hats made out of felt that at the end it was like a dragon puppet, but also it is fashion and also function. You could wrap it around as a scarf and you tuck it in and you have like a scarf and then a little dragon head here. And he got us these and my mom's like, that's great. They needed hats. And I was like, no. This can't be the hat I wear.
No, this can't be like my go-to. This is like a Halloween hat.
Dude, it was so crushing for me because I had left Mississippi where 6th grade is part of the middle school. And I was just like, the cool kids were like, they liked me. And then we moved to Alaska where I like, I'm Barney with a dragon hat. And I'm like, well, This is the end. And then I went to college in Florida and like I got too hot and had a seizure. But the point of all of this is I am an old Jewish man trapped in my young Jewish lady body. I didn't realize I was having a seizure except for, so what happened was I went to University of South Florida and our football team plays at Raymond James, which is where the Bucks play, the NFL. So they had buses you could ride over to the stadium, like the students. So we get on a bus. It's way too hot. Of course, I probably had like been drinking, college, whatever.
You start getting a little dehydrated.
Yeah, and I'm like really dizzy. And I'm there with my friend Stacy, who like we'd been friends for like a week, my new college bestie. And they parked the bus and they're about to get out. And I was like, Stacy, I don't feel good. And she's like, are you okay? And I was like, I can't see anything. And she's like, what? And I fell out of the bus door. Thankfully didn't get hurt, but I'm wearing this big, like I was most spirited in high school. Like I go hard for school events. I'm a fucking dork.
You express yourself.
I had a big green and gold bow and people are just stepping past me to get.
Oh, to the game?
Yeah. And Stacy's like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. And all I could hear was this like, the bus driver, who was this like maybe middle-aged black woman, very sweet. She's like, comes and grabs me and she's holding me. And Stacy's like, what's going on? And this lady goes, it's okay, baby. She's just having a seizure. But I could hear this and I couldn't say anything.
Right.
And I was trying to be like, I'm okay, Stacy. I guess it's just a seizure. But like nothing.
But nothing was coming out.
I couldn't see anything. I could hear everything. Ooh. And I couldn't say anything. And I was like, is this how I die?
Right.
Like I didn't have a cell phone yet.
You find out the Grim Reaper is just an old black woman on a bus. It's okay, baby.
She's just having a seizure.
She's just having a seizure.
Yeah.
She's just having a seizure. Welcome to the afterlife.
Literally. And I just heard Stacy like, oh my God. And like, I wanted to be like, I think I'm okay. I feel okay. I just can't see.
Stacy, I'm fine. Go to the game where the help me. You're on the Oh, there's blood in the mouth. Oh, can you get some wet wipes or something and then I'll be in the game? I still gotta look cute for the fellas.
And then it like stopped and I could see and I sat up and the bus driver was like, you're okay. You just had a seizure. Maybe you're overheated. We're going to get the paramedics over here just to talk to you.
What a calm, cool. She's obviously been through it. Like,
I was like, fuck,
those
how
people
many
partying.
seizures?
Oh, that's the 10th one this week, baby. You're fine.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I just like, she must have a family member. But now I'm like, no, she's been driving
Party
this bus.
Yep.
But she's like, every goddamn, probably some person from a northern state wearing dark colors in the August sun in humid ass Florida. And then the paramedics just like talked to me and they're like, how are you feeling? Have you had a lot to drink? And I remember like I must have drank the night before because I remember being like, no, I haven't had anything to drink. And like, well, just have some water. And then if you're feeling okay, they just let me go. Like,
I had the first time has ever happened to me before. I got super dehydrated at the Comedy Store. We did a comedy jam recently where I wasn't drinking enough water during the day and then they just ran out of water backstage and I put out a ton of energy for that show.
Oh yeah, you go hard.
Like I really pushed myself.
And that's the most main room, right?
Yeah.
That room gets... Did it always used to be so fucking hot?
I don't know. It's
sometimes so hot.
It sometimes gets hot in
there.
Stage
lights
are
just
lights are like... Especially,
they're stage lights, you know?
But like if you're on stage for like, once you hit around the 10 to 15 minute mark in there, you're like, oh, it's getting pretty warm in here.
And if you're physical, because I know we're both very physical. By the end of my sets in the main room, I look like I've played a basketball game.
Yeah.
And just to like hump a stool. Like,
oh yeah,
exactly. Just like, no, I just impersonated my fat dad being in an above ground pool for 2 minutes and now I'm going to pass out.
And now, thank you, good night.
And you got like dehydrated?
I got so dehydrated that I started shaking uncontrollably backstage. It's never happened to me in my life before. Wow. I got the chills and I literally could not get warm. Where I literally was having like, people were like rubbing my arms to try to
And it was just dehydration?
Yeah.
Wow.
I drank a ton of water and then I was good, but like
It's scary.
I couldn't finish the show. I was shaking and I couldn't stop shaking. I was trying to stop and I was so cold that I kept going.
It's
like this.
Scary. And also as a comedian, shit like that, is scary, but it's also annoying to me because I'm so like, someone's going to think I'm on drugs.
Oh, for sure.
Because I'm not sober.
Everybody thought I had COVID immediately.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, ugh.
Oh yeah, they're like, so Jeremiah, you feeling sick? And I'm like, oh, I know this is a COVID question. This is not like a well-being question.
Yeah, you don't care about me, you care about you.
Yeah.
Which fine, we're in a pandemic. But you're like, no, this is not, no, this is weird.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. And I am just so sensitive to that kind of stuff because I'm so high energy. The amount of people in my life who I've realized through conversation think that I do like cocaine or something like
some kind of upper.
they're
Yeah.
oh, no. Unfortunately, this is just how my brain is.
This is just hardwired.
I have to live with this.
Yeah.
I don't like it
Constantly.
either.
I just, it's always going. It's always spinning.
And then there's always someone who's like, if you did cocaine, it'd probably calm you down. I'm like, I'm not going to do cocaine.
Yeah, I'm not going to balance my life out with cocaine. What are you talking about?
What is wrong with you? And then, like, when you hear about people doing cocaine, you're like, you fucking cheater. That's like taking steroids in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
You let the real...
Come on, just get high on life like the rest of us.
Like the professionals.
Like the professional sobers over here.
Yeah, like, I'll have a drink every once in a while, but yeah, I just don't. And then, stuff like that. I'm always like, everyone's going to think I have a drug problem, which is like, is that worse than them going, no, she's just like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like when I'm high energy in my shows, like I do a bit like later on in my act about how I have like never done drugs or alcohol before, and people are literally like, they think there's a punchline coming because they're like, the guy that I just watched.
There's got to be a twist.
There's got to be something.
Oh, I love your bit with
funky
is it the cocaine bit with the really long line?
Oh yeah.
I mean that's it. Yeah. But like I'm not gonna do the bit, so fuck you guys. Go see him live. Obviously,
it's an oldie but a goodie.
A classic.
A classic Jeremiah joke.
Have you seen the special?
Have you seen a cocaine joke?
But yeah, no, I relate to that so deeply. And you're just like, but I mean, the whole point was, now I'm really thinking about people in comas, and
oh, I know, it's scary. It's scary to think about.
I'm going on the record publicly that if I'm out for more than 2 days, someone just unplug me. Get me out of here.
And that's a binding contract here on the Jeremiah Wonders podcast.
Free me.
Clip it if you're ever wondering if JMS needs the plug.
If you ever see a GoFundMe to keep me alive, you send this clip and go, fuck you.
Isolate this clip and be like, no, this isn't what she wanted.
You're not getting a penny from me. Ari Shaffir adopted me legally.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because I saw and I've seen you post about this, and I want to know like how this is even a thing. Like,
okay, it was like a joke that we took too far, but not New York State Court. No, like I did his podcast. I told him a story about my dad abandoning me, and then I was like, "Will you adopt me?" And he's like, "Can you adopt an adult? Let's like do that." And we looked it up, and it's like, yeah. So we went into court, and they just like asked, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't have a legal guardian who's around to, God forbid, somebody need to take, I have a degenerative autoimmune disease, and if it riddles me and somebody needs to make decisions for me." That was like our story, but that is 100% true.
Yeah.
I basically gave Ari Shaffir, who's a cartoon villain, power of attorney to just, he's like, oh, you have one fall and I'm gonna go into the hospital, and not even unplug me, he's just gonna smother me with a pillow, like,
Oh, yeah. That's what she wanted.
but we like walked no, trust me.
No, trust me.
I have her best
No,
interest.
we're talking about it. Best interest.
Little bitch.
Just shut up.
And I'm not even in a coma.
No, it's just good.
It's for the best. And we walked out and we were like, we did it. There's all these families like with babies they're trying to adopt, and they're like, congratulations. And we're just like,
And they're like, "What'd you do? You got married?" And they're like, "No, that's my dad."
This is my dad. And they're like, oh, these people are sick in the head.
So did they give you like a certificate and everything?
I signed a document. I don't know I think they did, and I don't know what I fucking did about that.
Like a printed document? You should get that framed.
You know what? I think it was supposed to get mailed to his apartment, and he's a slob, so it's probably just lost.
It's probably,
forever.
in a stack of
It's
mail.
an apartment that he moved out of like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He's disgusting. Ari, you're disgusting.
Hear that, Dad? You're disgusting.
That's where I get it. I'm also have a lot of mail piles, but like, he's a very pile of mail type of guy. When I say
so,
disgusting,
how long
that's-
was the process to getting him to be your adopted father?
It was like the idea happened. We sent in the paperwork, and then they give you like a date to come in a couple months later, but we kept having to reschedule because we were both on tour. And I was like, I'm not available. And at this point, they're like, I have to imagine the person at the end is like, what? Do you even care?
Yeah, do you want this?
You have a show instead of a father?
Jessica, do you want a dad or not?
And I was like, oh, I'm not going to stop rescheduling because I think I'm going to take this too far.
Yeah.
And then we just did it. And he's like, all right, I'm a dad.
I got jury duty for the first time in my life recently, and hopefully this worked. But I filled out that I was the sole provider for my son, and that between...
For a second, I forgot you had a son, and I was like, no, you have a kid.
Oh no, I literally. It sounds weird. My wife would be like, well, how do you think this way? But sometimes I forget I have a son because it's still so new.
Oh yeah.
Even though that sounds crazy, it's
It
literally
makes more
just
sense for a guy because like a woman is traumatized. Our bodies are destroyed by it.
Yeah.
They are just like, that's your kid is the thing you love most, and also your Vietnam, where you're like,
right.
You wrecked me. You better be a fucking doctor or something.
You better be perfect, like Mama intended.
Yeah, no wonder moms are so intense. Like, I just want you to be happy.
I just want you to, I don't want you to be sad because,
Because my vagina fell out. Dude, I should never have a kid. I might one day, but God help all of us.
You thought about it?
I was always like, I probably won't have one. If I ever get like really, really successful, maybe I'll adopt.
Yeah.
But now I have a boyfriend who I really love and he wants kids. But I'm like, why do we need more of me? I have a disease.
Because he loves you so much that,
And he's like, well, adoption's like not off the table, but I would like to have one of my own. And I'm like, why? But I get it's innate. It's biological.
Yeah.
And he's a touring musician. So it's just like, I mean, where we're at now is I'm like, it's not off the table, but like, we're going to have to make a plan. Because if you think I'm going to...
It'd have to be a big plan for you both tour so much. That'd be very difficult.
That it's like, if you think I'm going to wreck my body and also stop doing what I love.
Yeah.
But
then you got another thing coming.
But then on the other hand, it's this like contradiction. Because on the other hand, I would like, if I'm going to have a kid, to be in a place successful enough that like, I have the option that like, actually I could stop for a little while and just spend the time.
Well, the thing...
If I want it.
The thing with, we're always like thinking of like the success level of comics and stuff like that. The comics who are really successful, like really, they're the ones who, if they don't want to tour, they don't really have to.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm just going to do a movie or a TV show for a little while. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or you tour at such a level that like one show is an insane amount of money. You could just go like, I'm just going to do 10 theaters this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's...
Which is such a small chance of anyone getting to.
Oh, to that theater level?
To that level.
It's a very small group.
Yes.
It's a very small group of, what would you say, under 100 comics?
Oh,
who
yeah.
like really do theaters?
I would say under 50 who really do them.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe somewhere around 50.
If you include like European acts and all that stuff, there's got to be.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but I mean in the U.S., maybe there's definitely like, there's got to be like under 100 of our peers that like really
do
it.
them
like they sell out. It's not like like a half-pack theater.
No, I know, because that's fucking... just do clubs. What are you doing? Well, that's the thing is like...
It's a clout thing. They're trying to push.
I know, and of course it's easy for me from this level to go, let's do clubs, because it's like, well, that's my only option.
Right.
No, I'm not in danger of selling half a theater at any point, but like...
Oopsie, I just sold out a theater.
Whoops. And there's, I mean, yeah, but the comics who really do it, yeah, maybe 100, but even then it's like... I can think of like 10 people off the top of my head that
legit do it.
Are, yeah. But it's also like, I wouldn't want to move to theaters personally until I'm like packing out clubs.
Oh,
which I think is what most of them do. That they're like adding extra shows and they're selling out every weekend.
I think that it starts to be like, oh, do I want to do one theater show or do I want to do 3 shows on a Saturday at a club?
Exactly. Where you're like, let me just one and done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me tell you what that is.
Oh, what is it?
I have ADHD.
Uh-huh.
And that is an alarm to post on Instagram. Welcome to my nightmare.
Oh.
And I'm not going to do it. Am I going to do it? I'm not going to do it. I have ADHD. Am I going to do it? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it.
What do you need to post on Instagram?
Wait, it's a reel. I'm doing it really quickly. I already have it saved in a draft, but not because I was planning to do this on the show. It's because I totally forgot and I don't have a draft. I lied to you.
While you're doing that, let's multitask a little bit. Jessica Michelle Singleton has an album out right now that you can order pretty much on every platform. That was interesting.
Something just crashed into the garage.
I think a bird or something.
Oh my God, I think it's probably dead.
It probably is dead. A bird just flew into the garage door. You can get it on all platforms, correct? You can get it on Apple Music, Spotify.
Spotify, anywhere. It's called Horny for Death.
Yes.
I'm so sorry I just did that. That was...
No, that's why we're multitasking.
Look at you. Multitasking.
Horny for Death, and she just posted a reel on Instagram that you can check out. She's got great social media content that you can follow her at jmscomedy.
At JMS Comedy. Yeah, I'm trying to be better about the videos and shit online.
It's important. It sucks, but it's
It is.
important.
I finally am like, I've done it very sporadically.
I've noticed that you've been posting way more stand-up clips and stuff, which is great.
I finally was like,
It's great.
I mean, I have a lot. I film sets. I try to be regular about it. I'm not, because I'm a space case and whoever is, but like from just the back of the room to like look at game tape.
Yeah.
So I have all these sets that I never go back and look.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, okay.
Was there any gold in
Here
here?
we go. And it's like, I try to clip out things that it's like more of a riff.
Of course. Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't give away too much, but it's like too.
You did. I don't know where it was, but it was almost like a world star stand-up type
the
of clip.
black guy fucking a black guy clip.
Yeah.
That was literally in South Africa. I want to go back. Johannesburg, I want to come back to
They
you so bad.
Went so crazy in this clip that I was like,
It was like Def Jam.
It
was
really
like,
was.
They stood up. A guy was spinning in circles.
It felt like it was from a different era. The response was so big. I was like, oh, this is a great clip. I hope this goes viral. This is crazy.
Yeah, and it didn't. But it did fine.
Yeah.
For me. But like... that set was nuts. And I just happened to, right before I got on, because I was seeing, it was like a showcase type show where it's, 10, 15 minute sets.
Right.
They're crushing. And I had like a little shitty camera. And that's why it's so like this. I gave it to another comic. I was like, do you mind just like trying to film my set? And he's like in his seat, he gets up and like tries to go around. But I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are the sets you never get on camera.
Of course not. Yeah.
You set up your camera and then like someone's like,
battery off, or somebody's like eating chips right by the camera. You're like, what is happening?
Or the
right
waitress just stops to watch your set in front of the camera and like, I love her.
Yeah. The back of her head is in front of the camera.
I go through periods of time where I'll go like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get like a late night set. Mm-hmm. And then I'll have so many camera incidences that I give up and I'm like, fuck it. I'm a dirty comedian. I'm not meant for late night.
Right.
It's like, I once had someone, I nailed this set, and any comedian who listens to this would know where you just like, you hit all the punchlines, because trying to get a late night set's so specific. It has to be a certain type of material. You need like this whole little, it's a lot.
It's its own thing.
Yeah. And you just, certain punchlines, you want to get all the tags right. You don't want to like get dirty, which isn't hard for some people, but it's real easy for me to be like, fuck. And then I'm like, the whole thing's fucked. And then I just go into like queef jokes.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, screw it. But it was just like, I got off stage and I was like, I got it. And at this point in my technological advancements, instead of having a tripod, I was using a selfie stick that I would just prop up. Because my mom sent it to me. She lived in Korea. I was like, it worked.
Right.
The fucking host of the show had seen a camera on a selfie stick, picked it up, and was like, whose is this thing in the back of the room? And all the other comedians were like, no, that's the comedian. And she's like, oh my God. And she came up to me and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, it's fine. It happens.
Why
and in the back of my mind, I was like,
do that?
You ruined my life.
Why would they do that?
Why would you do that?
Why would anybody pick up somebody else's? Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, I assume she thought it wasn't running and someone had just like left it there.
That's crazy to me.
I just was like, it was literally a moment where I was like, God doesn't want me to be on late night.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to be on television, and that's just something I have to accept.
That was the sign.
Yes. And so now I have an album called Horny for Death. I leaned in.
And now it's dirty and
I'm filthy and
she's
dark
filthy
and dirty.
She's all the things that we like.
I'm too edgy for television. It's so stupid. But yeah, no, that's
When did you record it?
Horny for Death?
Yeah.
In June. So
Heck yeah.
I was on the road. I was going on the road with Melissa Villasenor. I got to tour with her and I was helping her like tag up her Netflix half hour, which she just recorded. And I'm so excited for everyone to see it. It's like, she's so funny. And I was already going to be out in the Midwest by the end of the tour. So what I do with a lot of my touring is like, I do a lot of like one-nighters at clubs. That's the level I'm at. Like smaller clubs will headline me. And then some of the like bigger A rooms, I'll sometimes do rap weekends where it's like I'll headline a Wednesday and then like feature for someone or whatever. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me hit up Helium. I've done their rooms before in a couple other, like in Philly, just see about getting one-nighters. And I hit them up and they're like, yeah, cool. They're like, by the way, we're like doing albums now. I know you haven't done one in a few years. If you have a material you want to put out. And I was like, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I had this solid, it's over an hour. And I was like, I want to put it somewhere, either visually or on an album
Get it out there.
before everything shut down. Because it's like, you get to a point with material where you're like, I like this material, but I'm over it, but I want to encapsulate it somewhere.
Yeah, you got to get it out.
Yeah. And Netflix wasn't banging down my door, which is fine.
They're not banging down a lot of...
They really don't have to bang down doors.
There's only a few specific doors that they bang down.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't even own a door. But but I was like, oh, actually, yeah. And I had put out my other album all by myself. So there's pros and cons where I was like, well, I made all the money, but I had to do all this extra work. And I was like, well, what are you guys going to do? And they offered me a good deal. And they're like, we'll handle everything. You just come and do it. But my fear was, because I was opening for Melissa for 2.5 weeks straight, doing like a very specific, at the time before I started touring with her, I had this very specific 20 to 25 minutes I was going to do that was clean.
Yeah.
Because Melissa's not, you know.
Yeah, you're not gonna like just light the stage on fire with like dirty material before she comes out
and does
it's, like,
Owen Wilson, you know,
right?
Because it's too different.
Well, it hurts her show too.
Yeah, and it's her show.
Yeah.
But then she was like, "Oh, don't feel like you have to clean up." So I did go. I played a little, but I tried to like keep it. I felt out the crowd. You know?
Yeah.
But I tried not to get too crazy. But I was worried, like, because I would be going straight into these hours. Because what I was going to do is do a one-nighter at their club in Indianapolis and their club in St. Louis. And like, we'll record both. And then I was like, but I may not like it. Like, well, if you don't like it, we just don't put it out. And then they booked me for some fall one-nighters in North Carolina. They have a club in Raleigh called Good Nights, and in Philly. And they're like, and we'll book you here. And if we get the album, those are just shows. If we don't get the album, we can record there too.
Great. That's actually,
So I was like, oh,
chill.
so low pressure.
Yeah.
And then this fucking crowd in St. Louis was amazing. And I went, look, Indianapolis was terrible. I won't lie to you guys. And I'm not saying the crowd. I'm saying I was like, well, that's definitely not the album.
Yeah.
It was the first time I was doing this full hour since God knows when, since before shutdown. I'd come off this 25 minutes. They sat the crowd weird. I'm not kidding. An Uber driver was dropping me off and he's like, where are you headed? And I was like, the comedy club. And I'm performing. And he's like, I didn't even know the comedy club was open. And I was like, well, this is good.
Yeah, literally a local Uber driver who should be hopefully dropping people off throughout the week and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I love that club. I didn't know they were open again. And I was like, well, that can't be good.
This is my first time I've ever driven here, and I've driven here for 6 years.
I've lived here my whole life. And I was like, this will be good. But then St. Louis... It was like a Wednesday night in St. Louis, and I didn't know how it was going to go. I haven't been to St. Louis since I went one time.
St. Louis Helium?
Yeah.
That's a fun club.
It was fun. I went one time to St. Louis years ago when I did my first, so me and these two other comedians, I don't know if you know Dana Moon and Lisa Curry. Love them both. But we did a cross country. We booked a bunch of one-nighters. A lot of it was like some clubs, some like weird rock venues. We did some like cool stage in the back of some restaurant in St. Louis, and it was great. But I was like, I'm fucking...
That's what I've always admired about you is that you're always hustling to make gigs happen no matter what. Like your calendar has always been full regardless of I've always noticed oh wow, she's doing some unique out of the country gigs or even within the country. It's if there's a stage, you'll hit it. And I always admire that about you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just I love to perform. And even starting out, I'm even at a it's not a crossroads now, but trying to figure out what else I want or what my goals are. And that's why I've been maybe I'll just grow what I have I'll start leaning into the social media or figuring out with podcasts, what direction I really want to go and lean into. Because when I started comedy, literally I was I want to be a paid regular at the Comedy Store and I want to make a living doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And I've already done that. Yeah. And it's a very menial living. I'm very much a working class comedian, but I don't need a lot. And so now it's just okay, I guess how do I elevate that? How do I go from getting weird weekends?
What's the next step? Yeah.
So that's my next step is okay, I'm getting these weekends. I've gone from one-nighters to starting to get weekends at clubs. Mm-hmm. And so far, here's what I can't wait to get to the point. And I hope I don't ever get jaded about it. but I'm excited to get to the point where I stop being surprised that there's a good turnout on weekends. Like where I go like, oh my God. Like, and I don't know if that ever goes away.
I'm still in it. So
yeah.
I'm literally like, and anytime there's like a good turnout, I'm like, really? Okay, cool.
You know, just try to act like okay, cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh yeah, good. The fans turned out. I'm like, who the fuck is here to see me? Well, and what's funny too is that like, I don't know, and it doesn't always go that way. It's like, it's interesting. I'm in the phase where I'm learning now where my audiences are.
Yeah.
Like there are cities where I'm now like, okay, I've done enough one-nighters here with a decent turnout where I'm like, this is a city I'm going to grow here.
I can keep going back to this market and doing well.
Philly, looking at you. St. Louis. But I'm just in that in between. So now it's like, okay, how do I go from this to always weekends and always filling up? And that's sort of the next. And I'm like, okay, well, what will help is the extra shit, the stuff that I've been like, because I've been very like blinders stand up for a while, and it's like, no, you got to do I'm active on social media, but I haven't done enough of the like we were saying before, just clips, and like I'm like, okay,
yeah, all that stuff, yeah,
and I've seen it work for other people.
Yeah,
like I see my friends who are like killing it, and they have these clips that like do well, and they're like, so many people like that's elevated me, so I'm like, all right, let me just fucking finally.
Yeah, it's a weird and
it could not work, but it's like you gotta
to the career that we have to be as stand-ups is the social media aspect. It's a weird.
Yeah, and it's like this extra vulnerability of like people who constantly put out videos and characters and shit. I respect the fuck out of them, because what I like about stand-up is that it's live and that it's this one moment and that it's like you're there and it's unique and it will never be exactly like that again. And there's a part of me that's very like, there's a very douchey side of like, I don't want to like give up that sanctity. I want it to always be this, you had to be there.
Yeah.
But also, there's definitely fear behind that, where it's like, if I put up the clip and people don't, like, I think it's a funny clip, but what if it doesn't do well? And that's why I have fucking stupid alarms set to be like, this is a good time to post a clip. Like, I don't want to know when a good time to post a clip is, but I'm like, oh, it's noon on Wednesday. It's pretty hot time. Like, it's the worst, because you could also put up something and like, for no other reason other than the algorithm, it doesn't get a lot. People go like, I guess I'm done now.
Oh yeah, well that's why
my career is over.
That's why the mentality is you have to just keep putting stuff out and hope something sticks.
I know.
And then not be, you can't let it affect you.
No, you just have to put it out.
Because there's some videos that I love and some sketches and stuff that I put out that I work on really hard that will get hardly anything, and then other things I literally had. It started to go viral on Instagram, and it was literally me doing a stupid voice in Austin of this guy who was making out with this girl, and he had his hand like almost up her vagina, like through her jeans. I was like, dude, people fingering each other on the streets here in Austin, dude. And like that got hundreds of thousands of views.
And you're like,
and like this sketch that I love, that I spent time writing and directing and editing and all this stuff, it's like just a small fraction of that. So like you never really know.
You never know. And then that's also why I'm like, you just gotta like throw shit up there. And it's like, you don't know what people are gonna jump on, so it's like, don't feel like it has to be always well crafted, but also don't be afraid to put that up too. And you know, like the amount of people who have blown up off of things that I'm like, that's not what they thought was going to be their thing.
Of course not.
And then you just go like, all right,
there you go.
But
well, we it's kind of cool. I think I'll always feel bonded to you in a way because we got passed at the exact same time at the Comedy Store.
It's so magical.
And it was how many times did you showcase before?
That was 3 for me.
That was number 3 for me as well.
3rd time's a charm.
Yeah.
Dude, on my second showcase, I followed Eric Myers and I was like, no. He just, like, R.I.P. Amazing comedian. Go check out his stuff online if you haven't. Unfortunately, he passed away. He obliterated in a way that, of course he did. He's a killer. And I was like, Adam didn't want me to get past.
Because he put you in the same showcase?
He did. Yeah. Like, I mean, it was like people were standing up going crazy. And then I was like, hey, everybody. Like, the first time I showcased, I was like, I could maybe get past. The second time, I was like, Adam would have had to been blackout drunk to be like, she did good enough. And then when we showcased together, I was like, look, if that's not it, then I'm...
That's exactly how I felt about my 3rd time.
Like, I was like, I have to have gotten past, or I'm delusional.
I thought I was getting passed on all 3 times. Though. I really did.
I had a lot of hope the first time. And then the second time I was like, well, that stinks.
The second one was, I think that was the one that stung me the most because, it was just like, oh, I really thought, because, between these showcases, there's a year between each showcase.
Yeah, and the first showcase Adam did, he asked me to be on, and I was out of town. And then I was out of town again, so I was like, I fucked myself.
Yeah.
That's the thing about going on the road is that like you go like, am I missing out on something? Mm-hmm. Am I? And I'm trying to. A cool milestone I've reached is that it's still like work is learning the boundaries of what I can say no to, because I love performing so much that I can be taken advantage of financially if I'm not smart about it, because I'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
I think we all can as performers, because it's something that we love to do as our craft, but then there's like this weird balancing act where we have to find the in between.
Yeah, of like, what is my worth? And then like, what am I giving up to go out of town? Is this financially even lucrative, but also worth what I'm possibly missing? And it's like, I don't think I've missed out on some one big opportunity, but I feel like just socially going out of town a lot, it's like people forget you. I don't want to be forgotten. Like, I'm like, I don't remember me, guys. We're friends.
Just clip that. I don't want to be forgotten.
I don't want to be forgotten.
Come on, guys.
And play that at
Remember
my funeral after you've unplugged me.
It's your pal who you unplugged just a second
I'm
ago.
wasting away.
I'm wasting away.
God's given me the light.
Don't worry about it. I'm still trying to run it.
Oh God.
You're like, I can't even go on with this riff anymore.
It's so sad. And I'm just like, all right, because I'm not sitting here turning down, acting gigs or anything, but like, you have to be around for people to think of you for those.
Sure.
And I don't have like some big aspiration specifically of like, I'm going to be the star of a show. And not like, if I was in town 3 more nights a week, for sure I'd have my own sitcom by now. Like, I'm not delusional. But so much of booking things is like somebody who has something, they're like, oh, they see you and they go, oh shit, yeah, you.
Yeah.
You'd be great for this.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be like, let me be around more in case.
Sure.
And I just want to do silly shit with my friends.
Well,
Here we are. Doing very serious, silly shit.
I know.
Seriously silly.
The back half of this podcast is the more serious stuff, and the front half is the more silly.
Yeah.
It's a good blend.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, it's a vibe,
It's
friends.
a vibe.
Isn't it a vibe, friends?
Please don't forget me.
We're going to close out this podcast with something that the listeners and the viewers love called Sax Talk. Oh, Sax Talk. All right, JMS is going to share a story of a sexual encounter, and I'm going to play some sweet, sweet saxophone along with it. Whenever you're ready, take it away, my friend.
All right, so it was Miami Beach, 1972. That date is very wrong. I was in South Florida. And listen, this is going to get gross, especially for a lot of men who don't want to hear about this stuff. But let me tell you, there's a window in a woman's period. We got our periods for like around a week. It's different for all of us. I'm irregular. I've spent a lot of unnecessary money on pregnancy tests. And that doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. There's a lot of women who you'll have this one day, like 3 or 4 days in, where your period just kind of goes away. But it's not done. But the thing about being a woman on your period, and why I know if there's a God, he's a mean, mean man, is you're never more horny. And when you're bleeding out of your genitals, bloated, disgusting, shoveling chocolate in your face. But anyways, I had this window where I was like, oh, it's the day off. And Mama wanted to get some D. And I was in southern Florida on the beach with a nice gentleman. And I made the choice to go into his hotel room, where I was like, we're going to make love in the dark because I don't want to look at myself. And we were making love. love is a very gratuitous term for what we were doing. But we were smushing our two gross bodies together. In the dark. It was great. It was so good. Oh, yeah. And then at the end... very appropriate music. We turned on the lights. And the window had closed on my period. Mid-sex act. It looked like a murder in there. There was blood everywhere. I'm so sorry, Hilton by the Sea. And so, like any, normal human woman responding to this situation, I obviously had to murder the man. I couldn't have him go out and tell people about it. I left town. I don't know if any other woman has experienced a sexual encounter so awkward that you're like, excuse me, and you just leave forever. But between that and several queefs in my history, I've done a lot of Irish goodbyes in the bedroom. Anyway, that was way I should have had a better story. That was disgusting. Why did I do that to you? The worst part is that he smeared the blood on his face like war paint, and he's like, "Give me more blood, mama." That part wasn't true. If it had been, I would have been like, my soulmate. This was gross, and I think everyone has clocked out by now, which was my goal. I'm the Sam Kinison of this podcast. I'm making everyone leave.
If you're still here with us,
I'm so sorry.
comment below, hit that like button, and go check out Horny for Death, available on all platforms.
There's much better sex stories there. No blood. Little to no blood.
Little to no blood
bits.
in Horny for Death. Check it out now. And thank you to my good pal Jessica Michelle Singleton for coming on the show today.
You're traumatized.
Jessica Michelle Singleton.
Oh God, Bill.
That was great. That was actually perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're great. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
This was awesome.
We've been friends like forever, and it's awesome, to end on a happy, sappy note.
On a happy,
I
sappy,
love
bloody
seeing
note.
you're blown up as the years go on. It's cool we're climbing this invisible ladder together,
Yeah,
and I feel like we're
same.
like we keep looking at each other like a little bit higher.
You're still here?
We're still here.
It's like Mount Everest. We're like, oh, you're not dead yet either?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's great to see
Let's
you.
keep going.
Yeah, and I've
It's
been
great.
loving watching you, especially even lately. Like even as the years go on, and I brought my wife to the Comedy Store recently, and she loved your set so much, and I did too. Like you were crushing. I think I had to like follow you or something, and it was I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to. Here we go.
Step it up.
Step it up a
I mean,
bit.
I love your stuff too. It's like so great seeing you grow and climb and succeed, and it's also fucking rad because when you think about like starting out stand up, like
Just the open mics and how hard it is. And
it's so hard. A
everything.
lot of people fucking don't. They quit.
I know.
There's so many people that I was like, we're gonna be best friends forever, and I'm like, I think they live in Virginia now.
We're still standing.
Better than we've ever been. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I won't stand much longer, but I'm standing now.
Goodbye. Love you guys.